We are in crazy times and prices of gold and silver is skyrocketing. Should I sell now?
International Stacker.
Hey, welcome everybody to the channel. My name's International Stacker. We're going to talk about silver and gold. If you like my channel, please subscribe, smash the like, share this video wide if you like my content. And remember, I am not a financial advisor. Now, let's get into this. Now, before this current price increase that we've seen over the past, and here's the crazy thing, this has only been like a week or a week and a half, but over the last week and a half, maybe 2 weeks, we've seen epic price increases that a lot of us have been waiting for. And a lot of people are thinking, should they sell their silver? Well, if you remember, back I think on July 17th, I put out a video saying, do not sell your gold and silver, or do not sell your stack. And the reason I put that out is because at that time, many in the community were talking about selling. There were some decently known stackers on YouTube that actually sold their stacks and talked about why. At that time, when I put the video out saying don't do it, spot price was $16.20. And right now it's $24.47. If they had just waited a couple more weeks, the 17th of July, if they just had waited a couple more weeks, their stacks would have gone up by 30%. Wow. So go check that video out if you haven't seen that. But the reason I put that out is because I know there's many new gold and silver stackers in the community. And again, I'm not an advisor. I'm just giving you guys my opinion, what I would do on my journey. But I was worried a lot of these stackers, we're going to see some prominent YouTubers doing it and kind of get scared into it and just sell their stacks. I was really concerned about that. So that's the reason I made that video. And boy, did it turn out being right. And I'm so happy if I saved some of you. If I saved some of you, let me know in the comments below. During this current price increase, there's also still a lot of people selling their gold and silver stacks. But what's changed? I have seen 0 YouTubers do it during this price increase. Why is that? Well, I think most of them are holding just like I am because they look at the intrinsic value of silver. They look at where it's come from. They look at the suppressed market that's set by billions of traded ounces that don't even exist. They're just traded in paper. And the ones that do exist, I mean, it's consumed every year. It's consumed and thrown in landfills. So here's why I'm not selling silver before I get on the use case, okay? The reason I'm not selling any of my stack is we are in the most uncertain times in recent history. And traditionally, gold and silver traditionally are a flight to safety play. So when people are concerned, when there's problems in the markets, when things seem uncertain, it's usually a play to protect your money. So that being said, are we in uncertain times? Well, let's see what's coming up. I guarantee you 100% this election is going to be contested, no matter who wins. It's and here's the crazy thing, guys. If the mail-in ballots are across the states, we're not going to even know who's president for days, maybe even up to a week. And, prominent mainstream media agencies are even saying that now. If Trump gets in again, it's going to be he cheated with Russia or this or that, and it's going to be years and years of investigation. My whole point in this is, and if he doesn't get in, there's going to be people yelling there was cheating. So my point is, if this is going to be one of the most contested elections of all time, we're on some of the most politically charged days of our lives, years of our lives. And I'm a firm believer the big reason for that is the mainstream media who stokes fires and like to create controversy so they can get clicks, okay? So the election is going to be contested. Secondly, possible waves of the beer flu. Now, people ask me, what's the beer flu? Well, if you remember, I had to come up with a name for the CV that wouldn't be detected by YouTube. So I wouldn't get my videos shadow banned and demonetized. So beer flu. Now, there's people out there that think it's the most deadliest thing ever, which being an expert in the field of emergency management, I can tell you it's not. And then there's people that think it's totally manufactured. It doesn't even exist. And that's not true. It's there. But I can tell you it's not as bad as the modeling and people thought. And whatever that was a result of, I'll leave you to draw that conclusion. But what I can tell you is it's had grave impacts on the economy. People have lost their jobs. Businesses are closing. Guess what? Before the beer flu, guys, go look online at articles. there was record closing shops, stores, talking about malls being ghost towns, people going out of business. That was nothing new. It's only been accelerated now with the beer flu. So we've got possible future waves of beer flu, and whether it's going to kill people or not, or be as impactful as you think or not, it doesn't really matter if they close businesses and force people to stay home. It doesn't really matter, right? Because it's going to have major economic issues, which is my next reason. I believe we are going to be seeing the largest economic crisis of our century. Someone recently said to me, wow, this is not like, the Great Depression, because we haven't seen, everyone like lose their jobs and the unemployment be too crazy. People are still eating. There's not soup kitchen lines. I said, first off, that's because of the next point, record-setting stimulus. People are getting unemployment checks and extra money on top of that. People got stimulus money. But oftentimes, with economic issues, it takes a little time for the sea monster to rear its ugly head above water. And boy, when it does, you better believe you're going to be in trouble. Side note, I am not buying gold and silver right now. First reason is I believe there's a pullback coming in the market that's going to be coincide with this record-setting stimulus. Another video I just recently made on that, go check it out. It says how I made $40,000 in equity on my stack, or an increased value. But I believe there is a pullback coming, but I also believe we're in for some of the most turbulent times of our lives. So I am right now saving all the cash I can. Part of that is earmarked for gold and silver, but you best believe I'm going to have a higher level of an emergency fund, because if this economic crisis happens how I think it is, you need to have paper currency to survive on, to pay bills, to protect your family on. The worst thing you can do is get a ton of silver and then have to sell it right back. Now, in today's market, who knows? Maybe you could buy it, change it in, and make some money off of it. But maybe you don't. Maybe you lose a bunch of money. Maybe they manipulate the price down and then you're really screwed. So make sure you have a cash emergency fund. And I didn't even intend to say that on this video. That's just coming from the job I do every day and my expertise. So all these factors tell me right now this is the worst time to sell. This is the worst time to sell. That's my personal opinion. So, should you sell? Should you take this all and sell it right now? I'll tell you this. That's your decision. But this is what I'm doing. I'm not selling. Now, if you have an emergency or you need to feed your family, you have medical issues, by all means, that's part of what your stack is there, is an emergency, a safety net for you. You should have your emergency fund, but this is an extra safety net. So if you have to sell it, I understand it. But if you have the option not to and you're thinking about flipping it into cash, fiat currency, bad idea. Bad idea. I'll tell you when I'm going to sell. I'm going to sell when I have a major opportunity to shift it into another asset at elevated prices. I would never sell all of my stack, take the cash and put it in a bank or put it under my mattress or in a microwave or wherever it's going to be if I don't have a plan to make that money work for me. Why? The hidden tax of inflation. The Federal Reserve, who is private, if you go on their website, it says their target is 2% inflation. And it's actually a lot higher than that. So if you have 100 Morgans in your bank account and then inflation hits, the next year you come back, you would have still 100 Morgans, but it's only worth 98. Still 100 Morgans, but it's only worth 96. That's inflation. Obviously, we stack gold and silver because it's not affected by inflation. So if I had 100 Morgans and I come back, it's going to be the 100 Morgans and probably be around the same buying power, if not more. But what I was talking about there was paper currency, but trying to give you a precious metals example. I will not do it until I can shift into another asset. What does that mean? Maybe the real estate market collapses and the houses and property are pennies on the dollar. I'll move it out of this, put it into fiat currency if I have to, and shift it into property. Or maybe if they'll take a straight gold, switch to gold and silver, I'll do that, but that's highly unlikely. I will not put my money in paper currency unless it's an emergency fund or unless I have a plan and I just need to do it for a short amount of time. Otherwise, leaving your wealth in paper currency that's currently being printed into oblivion is one of the biggest mistakes I think anyone can do right now. What's another opportunity? let me plug another video I just put out about playing the gold to silver ratio. If you haven't seen it, please see it. I did a ton of research and I made a chart that actually shows you how much silver and gold you could have made if you've played it over the last 20 years. It really helps put things in context, and even I was surprised. I mean, I knew it was a good plan, but after doing that video, I'm like, wow, it's even better plan than I thought. Or businesses. You know, maybe a business opportunity come along that I can pick up for pennies on the dollar, and maybe pick up a little crab company. Who knows? What I can tell you is one of the most important things if you're gonna sell your stack is to know your dollar cost average and how much you've gained in equity. So I'm gonna plug one last video I just put out last night. This is my software. This is my Google spreadsheet that I released last night in a video. And in that video, there's a link where you can download this. It calculates everything for you. But look, I can instantly look at this, pretend I'm thinking about selling. I can say, well, my dollar cost average for gold was 1,300. I've gained 6,000 in gold in what it's worth, equity. I've gained 35,000 in silver equity. So I've had a 31% increase in silver, 49% increase in gold. Do I want to sell? Do I not? I don't know. But what's my point with this is that document there, that sheet will tell you, hey, I'm up 10,000% in my silver, or I'm up 500% in my silver. Maybe it is a good time to sell. So it helps you just to make a better and more informed decision when deciding to sell your gold and silver. Now I joke and say I'm a dragon hoarding my silver and gold and that I want to take it to the grave. Really what I want to do with this, guys, is leave a legacy for the next generation. I want to have dynastic wealth. I want to build a dynasty of international stackers. So that's my main goal. So if I have to switch it out into another asset and switch it back in, I do want to be able to give away this to the next generation. But first I have to find Mrs. IS, and 3 of you subscribed to my Mrs. IS and joined the channel as Mrs. IS level. Let me shout you out. So a big thank you and shout out to Stacking Silverman, Justin Moody, and yes, AG Chopsticks for becoming channel members at the Mrs. IS level. But I have to find a real Mrs. IS. Sorry guys, but I got to find a real one so I can start my next generation. But I want to be able to hand down generational wealth, you know, leave the next generation better than where I was at. So really, I don't want to sell my gold and silver, but if the opportunity presents itself, I will, because my goal is to change the world. And unfortunately, to change the world, you got to have a lot of this. So let me know down below what you think. Are you planning to sell? What levels are you going to sell at? What's it going to take for you to sell? Are you just going to put it in currency and play the stock market? Put it on the roulette table at Vegas? What are you going to do? And what is the point you're selling at? Thank you everyone again. And just touching on disaster preparedness, my site is up, preparewithis.com. The shipping frames are way lower than they were. If you make a purchase, not only are you getting the best deal on the internet for freeze-dried food that lasts for 25 plus years, you put it in a closet, forget about it, protect your family, but it gives me a small percentage kickback to help me do what I do. So preparewithis.com, check it out. And if you remember, I was telling people about it in December, and then some people took advantage of it. By the time everyone went to take advantage of it, it was up to 12-week, 18-week delivery. People were panicking. They needed emergency supplies. We are in hurricane season now, folks, and it's predicted to be one of the worst ones we've had in recent history. Make sure you're prepared. Whether you buy the food through preparewithis.com or any other way, make sure you have emergency food, emergency water, away from emergency power, especially if you have medical equipment, and make sure you're stacked to the rafters with gold and silver. But again, do not overextend yourself. Do not put yourself into debt because of FOMO, the fear of missing out. Be responsible, stack it to the sky, and I'll say, catch you on the next one.
One stacker on a journey to find silver.